The Galactic Council's emergency session had been in progress for 14 standard hours when the communication array finally crackled to life. High Counselor Zethkar's crystalline form shimmered with barely contained anxiety as the holographic display materialized above the central dais. Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen, the High Counselor's translator rendered her words in perfect Terran standard. The Council has voted. We invoke Article 12 of the Galactic Accords. Immediate ceasefire. Effective across all sectors. Admiral Chen's weathered face appeared in the blue-tinted projection, her silver hair pulled back in regulation style, despite being 3 months into deep space operations. Behind her, the bridge of the UES Indomitable hummed with quiet efficiency. She regarded the assembled representatives of 47 species with the same expression she might reserve for a mildly interesting weather report. Article 12, she repeated slowly as if testing the words. That's the one where everyone agrees to stop shooting and have a nice chat, right? The Velnari representative, Ambassador Klixtos, rippled his tentacles in what humans had learned to recognize as extreme agitation. Admiral, the hegemony has deployed starkillers in the Kepler sector. They've already sterilized 3 worlds. The Council demands, Chen interrupted, her voice carrying the weight of absolute authority, quite a lot for an organization that spent the last 6 months filing paperwork while the hegemony burned entire systems. She leaned forward slightly. Tell me, High Counselor, how exactly does Article 12 work when one side has already decided that genocide is an acceptable military tactic? High Counselor Zethkar's crystalline structure pulsed with uncomfortable light patterns. The truth was evident to everyone in the chamber. The hegemony had ignored every previous ceasefire, using the breathing room to regroup and strike harder. But the Council's protocols were sacred, unchanged for millennia. The proper channels must be followed, Zethkar insisted. Diplomatic solutions must be exhausted before what? Chen's laugh was sharp as vacuum. Before they finish wiping out the Altarian colonies? Before they crack Proxima Station like an egg? Or are we waiting for them to show up at Earth's doorstep? The hegemony's own representative, War Speaker Gaktul, materialized in his own hologram. His species' natural armor plating gleamed under the harsh lights of what was presumably a military vessel. The human speaks with forked tongue, he rumbled, his words accompanied by threatening postures. The hegemony agrees to ceasefire. We withdraw to established positions. The soft species may keep what remains of their worlds. How generous, Chen said dryly. Keep what remains of our worlds. She stood, moving out of frame for a moment before returning with a steaming mug. You know what, War Speaker? I've got a counter-proposal. She took a deliberate sip from her mug, and several council members noted with alarm that it appeared to be coffee, a stimulant so potent that most species considered it a controlled substance. Here's the thing about humans, Chen continued conversationally. We've got this quirk in our psychology. When someone backs us into a corner, when they threaten everything we care about, we don't really do the whole reasonable negotiation thing anymore. Another sip. We do something that your species might find unreasonable. War Speaker Gaktul's armor plates shifted in what his people would recognize as contempt. The humans have 12 ships in this sector. The hegemony controls 400. Your mathematics are flawed, human. 12 ships, Chen agreed. But here's what your intelligence missed, War Speaker. Those aren't just any 12 ships. She gestured behind her, and the view screen shifted to show the exterior of her vessel. The camera panned slowly along the hull, revealing modifications that made several council members recoil in recognition. The ship's hull bore scars from previous battles, but more importantly, it bristled with weapons that no civilized species would mount on a single vessel. Mass drivers that violated 3 separate arms control treaties, fusion torpedoes that the Council had banned decades ago, and mounted prominently on the dorsal section, a device that made the Velnari representative physically retreat from his console. Is that, Ambassador Klixtos began? A quantum cascade projector, Chen confirmed cheerfully. Funny story about that. We found the plans in some old precursor ruins. Council archaeologists said it was too dangerous to build, violated the natural order, crimes against sentience, etc. She shrugged. But you know humans. We heard too dangerous and thought, challenge accepted. High Counselor Zethkar's light patterns had shifted to deep ultraviolet, the crystalline equivalent of panic. Admiral Chen, the Council cannot sanction the use of precursor weapons. The destabilization of local spacetime could turn hegemony space into a very pretty nebula, Chen finished, along with anyone unlucky enough to be standing in it. She turned her attention back to War Speaker Gaktul, whose armor plates had gone suspiciously still. Still feeling confident about those 400 ships? The War Speaker's response came through clenched mandibles. The hegemony does not yield to terrorist threats. Terrorist threats? Chen laughed again, but this time there was no humor in it. War Speaker, you've glassed 3 worlds in the past month. You've turned entire star systems into graveyards. And when the Council offered you every diplomatic off-ramp imaginable, you spat in their faces and asked for more. She set down her mug, with deliberate precision. What we're offering isn't terrorism. It's pest control. The bridge behind her had gone deadly quiet. Every human officer at their station radiated the same calm professionalism as their admiral, as if preparing to potentially destabilize local spacetime was simply another item on their duty roster. The Council will not permit, High Counselor Zethkar began. The Council, Chen said with finality, will have exactly 37 minutes to convince the hegemony to accept unconditional surrender, before my fleet demonstrates why humans don't really do ceasefires. She glanced at something off-screen. 36 minutes and 43 seconds, actually. Time flies when you're having fun. War Speaker Gaktul's image flickered as his communication array clearly struggled with incoming priority messages from his own command structure. The hegemony's military might was built on overwhelming their enemies through superior numbers and firepower. But they weren't stupid. Precursor technology had shattered civilizations before. This is madness, he finally managed. No, Admiral Chen replied, raising her coffee mug in a mock toast. This is lunch. And War Speaker? Her smile was sharp enough to cut hole plating. Your fleet is looking absolutely delicious.